Stockton, California, a city notorious for its violent reputation, is home to a rap crew that's rewritten the rules of fear and fame. Meet EBK, short for Everybody Killer, a collective that walked a razor-thin line between music and mayhem. To the public, they were just rappers putting Stockton on the map. To law enforcement, they were a street gang wielding beats and bullets. Today, we're unraveling the gritty, jaw-dropping saga of how EBK rose to prominence and chaos. EBK's stomping ground was 2100 Nightingale Avenue, deep in Stockton's South Side, a gritty, unforgiving terrain where survival often meant allegiance to a crew. By 2018, the group was more than a rap collective. The police had classified them as a gang. But even before that, EBK had already etched its name into the city's streets and speakers, becoming synonymous with Stockton's chaos. Their name, Everybody Killer, wasn't just for show, it was a promise. Stockton became a battlefield, and the trenches were drawn between EBK on the south side and their most notorious rivals, 44G and NGSC, who held down the north. The beef was raw, personal, and escalating quickly. Gunfire wasn't just a threat, it was the soundtrack of the city. In 2019, Stockton's simmering tensions erupted into a summer of bloodshed that would leave the city reeling. It began when EBK affiliates allegedly stormed into North Stockton, enemy territory, with deadly precision. Their target, a man named Ronald Celestine. The details of why Ronald was marked remain hazy, lost in the smoke of street whispers. But the aftermath was undeniable. Ronald was left lifeless in the street, another statistic in Stockton's mounting murder toll. But EBK wasn't satisfied with one body. They weren't just sending a message, they were screaming it. For days later, while Ronald's family gathered for a candlelight vigil to mourn their loss, EBK allegedly struck again. In a cold and calculated move, they sprayed the vigil with bullets, turning a moment of grief into another scene of carnage. 5 people were hit in the chaos. Among them was Benny Lott, Ronald's cousin, a man entirely removed from Stockton street politics. Benny wasn't a gangbanger or a rival. He was just a family man paying his respects. But in Stockton, the bullets don't discriminate. Benny was tragically killed, leaving a void in his family and marking the night as one of Stockton's darkest chapters. The vigil shooting wasn't just senseless violence, it was a statement. EBK wanted the world to know their reach, their ruthlessness, and their readiness to escalate. It wasn't enough to claim their corners. They were out to control the entire map, and anyone caught in the crossfire was collateral damage. The aftermath of the attacks left North Stockton rattled. In the days that followed, EBK affiliates allegedly struck again, hitting 2 more men in the streets of North Stockton. It was a relentless spree of violence that painted the city red and set the stage for what came next: a police crackdown, arrests, and the slow unraveling of the crew that had once terrified Stockton. But by then, EBK wasn't just a local name. The violence, the music, and the infamy were starting to put Stockton and EBK on the map in ways the city had never seen before. The streets of Stockton may have been drenched in blood, but EBK wasn't just leaving bodies. It was leaving a trail. By the end of 2019, the city's rising body count and relentless shootings had painted a glaring target on their back. Stockton PD had seen enough. The brutality couldn't escape notice, and law enforcement began to close the net on the group that had turned the city into their playground of chaos. What started as an investigation into one murder quickly snowballed into a sprawling operation. Detectives combed through surveillance footage, intercepted phone calls, and leaned on terrified witnesses, piecing together the fragmented puzzle of EBK's reign. Every move EBK made had consequences, and the cops were determined to pin them down. The investigation culminated in a dramatic series of raids. The pounding of battering rams against doors shattered the early morning silence as SWAT teams swarmed EBK strongholds. Smoke grenades erupted, flashbangs illuminated the darkness, and chaos ensued as officers stormed in. Inside, they found weapons, stacks of cash, and stolen goods, artifacts of the empire EBK had built. By the time the dust settled, 9 arrests had been made. Among those cuffed were Brian Norman, a name whispered in Stockton's alleys as a shot caller, Raymond Gaines, whose reputation as a street enforcer was second to none, and Charles Prince, a young, rising star in the EBK ranks. Each had their own alleged connection to the violence that had gripped the city, including the murder of Ronald Celestine. The charges read like a laundry list of Stockton's nightmares: murder, attempted murder, armed robbery, illegal firearms possession, and more. The cases against them were ironclad, or so it seemed. Prosecutors were ready to drag them through the court system, but in Stockton streets, the arrests only added fuel to EBK's legend. With EBK's key players behind bars, the streets of Stockton grew quieter. Drive-bys became less frequent, the crack of gunfire no longer echoed nightly, and the once chaotic South Side began to breathe again. But in the stillness, EBK's reputation only grew. The stories of their boldness, their ruthlessness, and their unapologetic defiance of rivals and the law spread like wildfire. To some, they were villains, terrorizing their own city for the sake of power. To others, they were anti-heroes, young men who had risen from nothing to take everything. And for those caught in the middle, EBK's name became more than just a gang. It was Stockton's darkest myth, carved into the city's psyche with bullets and blood. Even behind bars, the myth of EBK continued to grow. Their music still circulated on the streets and online, serving as both a testament to their defiance and a rallying cry for their affiliates. Stockton had seen gangs before, but EBK wasn't just another crew. They were a phenomenon. And while the arrests brought some temporary peace, the city's scars remained. Stockton was left wondering, was this the end of EBK's reign, or was the quiet merely the calm before another storm? While the streets simmered, EBK's presence in music soared, thanks to young Slow B. Raised on his father's makeshift home studio, Slow B initially dabbled in music, but found his stride in 2018. His gritty lyrics and Stockton pride caught fire, and when he teamed up with Sacramento rapper Briss, their collaborative energy promised to reshape California's rap scene. Tragically, Briss's career was cut short in 2020 when he was chased down and gunned down in Sacramento. The loss hit Slow B hard, but he channeled the pain into his music. In 2021, his track, I Love You, went viral on TikTok, cementing him as Stockton's breakout star. But the streets don't forget. In August 2022, young Slow B was found dead, leaving a void in EBK's burgeoning empire. EBK's story wasn't just about music, it was personal. J-Bo, one of their standout rappers, lost his father Rari in a neighborhood altercation. Rari's death propelled J-Bo into a life of crime and music. His tracks, like The Apocalypse, were a call out to rival sets like Trap Mob, also known as Flyboys. The crew fractured further when allegations of snitching surfaced. Harry B., brother of EBK Young Jock, allegedly cooperated with police, leading to bitter diss tracks and Young Jock forming a splinter group. The infighting, combined with mounting legal troubles, signaled cracks in the EBK foundation. The drama took an even darker turn in 2023 when Flyboy rapper Jay Black was killed, allegedly as retaliation for mocking Slow B's death. Not long after, an NBA G League player, Chance Kamani, was implicated in the murder of an EBK affiliate's girlfriend, allegedly orchestrated from behind bars. The layers of betrayal and revenge deepened EBK's lore, but also accelerated their downfall. EBK's meteoric rise in Stockton's rap scene mirrored their descent into chaos. Their music captivated fans craving authenticity, but their commitment to street politics was their undoing. As members faced incarceration and death, the movement lost its momentum. EBK showed the world that living your lyrics might earn you fame, but it comes with a price few are willing or able to pay. The streets of Stockton are quieter now, but EBK's legacy as both icons and cautionary tales lingers. This is the brutal reality of a group that dominated their city, one verse and one vendetta at a time.